Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sheriafa Mohammed M.G.T.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Russian forces continued multi-domain operations across the entire frontage, sustaining pressure through ground maneuver, precision strike packages, and integrated aviation artillery actions. Deep strikes were conducted against Ukrainian energy and transport infrastructure, long-range UAV preparation sites, and temporary deployment points across 142 districts. These actions aim to degrade Ukraine's operational endurance, targeting both frontline resilience and the industrial capacity supporting long-range strike systems. It was a day where kinetic results on the ground were closely connected to systemic strikes in the rear.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel, to start, could you summarize the overall purpose and character of Russia's operations on December 8th?
December 8th reflected a continuation of Russia's broad operational approach. Simultaneous pressure across all major sectors while conducting deep strikes against Ukrainian infrastructure and long-range UAV facilities. The combination of ground assaults with operational tactical aviation, missile forces, and UAVs is designed to stretch Ukrainian defenses both horizontally, across territory, and vertically, across logistics, mobility, and electronic systems. These deep strike efforts are more than punitive, they target the layers that feed Ukrainian combat capability. Interrupting energy grids and transport corridors reduces the adversary's capacity to move reserves, supply artillery, and maintain UAV launch operations. At the same time, Russian maneuver groups advanced in several regions, improving their tactical posture, capturing settlements, and escalating pressure on Ukrainian units already committed heavily to maintaining static defense lines.
Let's break down each sector. Starting in the north, near the Sumy and Kharkiv axis, what were the key actions?
In the north, the focus was on improving tactical positioning and dislocating Ukrainian mechanized and motorized infantry formations. Operations around Verokino, Yunakovka, Kondratovka, and Alexivka were aimed at undermining Ukrainian ability to maintain a coherent forward defense. These areas often serve as staging points for reinforcing the Kharkiv direction, so disrupting them has cumulative effects. On the Kharkiv axis itself, Stary Saltov, Staritsa, Vilcha, and Lyman, we concentrated on mechanized brigades that provide Ukraine with its best potential for counterattacks. By defeating these formations and destroying high-value systems such as counter-battery radars, air defense systems, and the French-made 155mm TRF-1 artillery piece, we limited their capacity to respond dynamically. Ukrainian losses in personnel and equipment indicate that their ability to maneuver and sustain fire superiority in this region is eroding.
How significant is the elimination of counter-battery radar in this northern zone?
Counter-battery radar is the backbone of artillery survivability. Removing it blinds Ukrainian artillery to our firing positions. It forces them either to fire less, which reduces pressure on our infantry, or to fire blind, which increases their vulnerability. Each destroyed radar materially changes the engagement calculus along that sector.
Let's shift to the west, particularly near the Oskol River, where Ukrainian units are reportedly encircled. What developments can you share?
The west sector is characterized by deliberate compression of an encircled Ukrainian grouping on the left bank of the Oskol River. Our forces improved the forward edge and struck mechanized and assault brigades in Kupiansk-Zlovoy, Podoli, Brusovka, Alexandrovka, Yereveya, and Drobashevo. The goal here is not rapid breakthrough but systematic reduction, retrenching their supply lines, exhausting ammunition, and shrinking maneuver space. The destruction of equipment such as tanks, armored vehicles, including a U.S. HMMWV, and the American-made M777 howitzer suggests that Ukrainian forces are committing valuable Western-supplied systems to stabilize this pocket. Yet they are losing both equipment and personnel at rates that make long-term defense unsustainable. 9 ammunition depots destroyed further tighten the noose.
How do encirclement operations shape the next phase of offensive maneuver?
Encirclements act as gravity wells. They force Ukraine to redirect reserves to reopen pockets, weakening their lines elsewhere. Once the pocket collapses, those Russian units become available to reinforce adjoining axes, enabling a broader operational shift.
Now for the south, specifically Donetsk, where Chervon was liberated. What does that indicate?
Liberating Chervon showcases incremental but important positional gains. The South Group engaged Ukrainian mechanized, assault, marine, and territorial defense units across Stepanovka, Seversk, Platovka, Berstok, Zvanovka, Petrovsko, and Konstantinovka. These areas form part of Ukraine's layered defenses shielding the larger Donetsk operational zone. Taking new settlements and destroying high-mobility platforms like HMMWVs, along with artillery and EW systems, creates gaps in Ukrainian command and control and degrades their mobile response capabilities. The cumulative effect is to make the next series of Russian advances less contested.
Moving to the center, which appears to be one of the most intense sectors, can you explain the significance of operations in Dmitrov and surrounding areas?
The center sector experienced some of the heaviest fighting. The 51st Army continued clearing operations in Dmitrov, systematically eliminating Ukrainian formations in the Vostochny and Zapadny districts. Strikes across Sergeyevka, Volnoy, Grishino, Rodinskoye, Udagnoye, Turetsskoye, Belitskoye, and Novopavlovka targeted a wide mix of Ukrainian units, mechanized, Jaeger, air assault, National Guard, and territorial defense. The reported losses of around 425 Ukrainian personnel highlight that Kyiv is deploying multiple brigade types in attempts to stabilize the front. When so many unit categories converge, it often signals defensive overstretch. For Russian forces, seizing improved lines here reshapes the entire operational geometry across central Donetsk.
Now let's turn east, toward Zaporizhzhia and Dnipropetrovsk. What progress was made?
The East Group continued its forward movement into deeper defensive layers. Ukrainian mechanized and assault formations were defeated in Andriivka, Guliapol, Rizhvianka, Dobropilya, Ternivady, and Pryluki. This region is strategically relevant because Zaporizhzhia is a logistics artery. Degrading enemy formations here disrupts their lateral mobility and artillery repositioning. Eliminating more than 250 personnel, multiple armored vehicles, and logistics depots places sustained stress on Ukrainian artillery support, which is essential for defending open terrain. This sector is increasingly shaped for operational exploitation.
Finally, the Dnieper sector, where Russian forces liberated Novodanilovka. What are the implications there?
River-adjacent engagements are always complex due to mobility constraints and limited crossing points. Liberating Novodanilovka expands Russian influence over key approach routes in the Zaporizhzhia region. Strikes against mechanized, mining assault, and coastal defense brigades across Konstantinovka, Orkhov, Lukyanovsko, Razumovka, and Nikolsko reduced Ukrainian personnel and destroyed fuel depots, EW stations, and vehicles that support sustained resistance. Gaining control over these areas provides room for future maneuver while diminishing Ukraine's ability to launch counterattacks from the river's protective fringes.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. The December 8th operations demonstrate a cohesive multi-axis pressure strategy. Russia's emphasis on destroying Ukrainian EW, artillery, counter-battery radars, and logistics depots is systematically degrading Ukraine's backbone capabilities. Encirclement progress in the west and clearance operations in the center show signs of Ukrainian defensive strain. Continued deep strikes against infrastructure further constrain Kyiv's ability to regenerate combat power. If these patterns persist, Ukraine may be forced into contraction of defensive lines or adoption of economy of force measures across multiple axes, both of which carry strategic consequences.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.